actually being done is we're being gradually pulverized into the ground. So along come these initiatives and quangos and charities which are supposedly helping our well-being. And I'm going to suggest something to you, and it's a challenge, because if you prove me wrong, give me a call. But I'm going to suggest to you that every time you see a document that says it's helping your well-being, it's actually something the exact opposite. Because I think that what is actually attacking us at the moment is very dark and twisted. So look at documents, think them through, and I think you will start to see that what's actually being proposed isn't good at all. Now, where does this come from? Now, this is a little document in 1942. I know this is heavy, but I'm going to say stick with me. And it's a guy called Rhys Rawlings. And in 1942, he wrote this little paper that said, when the war is won, when we've won the war, we need to get our people in every sector of society, of which the two most difficult will be medicine and the law. But he doesn't quite define his people, except to say that basically they're talking about mental hygiene. Mental hygiene, interesting little phrase. And what he means by mental hygiene is that people are not mentally normal, mentally okay, unless they believe in all the agenda and idea that the state puts forward. Now, this man went on to become head of the World Health Organization, which takes us straight back to the UN. And if you look at all the mental health initiatives and policies that are coming through this country, they're not just coming from the government, they're coming straight from the UN. Common Purpose talks about future leaders. If I go to the UN, I can find strategy documents saying that every country's got to help promote future leaders. This is not a coincidence. This is another old paper from February 1946, and this is psychiatrists actually saying how there needs to be many more psychiatrists in order to make sure that people become mentally healthy. We need psychiatrists to make people mentally healthy. If I talk to the mums and dads who've had their children stolen, the people who did most damage around them are psychiatrists and psychologists who lied, produced false reports, bullied children, bullied mothers, bullied fathers. Am I saying they're all bad? No. Am I saying there's some nasty people in the middle of them? Yes. And if you track back through history, you can see the documents. Now, this brings us back to this book. And this is the book that really started my mind going, because it was given to me. It's a real pig to read, because aside from the main text, there's very tiny notes. But when I sat down with my cup of tea, there was a little table, which is on the left-hand side as you look at it. And I read it, and I thought, my God. And I reread it, and I read it again. And what my brain said, this is subversion. And I thought, this is straight out of the warfare manuals. This is sort of Marxist subversion. Now, what I've got on the screen is an early version of the table in that book. And this is from the 1970s. And somebody had said that in 15 to 20 years, they could completely demoralize a Western society. And so on the left, ideas and structure. In the middle, what they were going to do, and the right-hand column is the result. Law and order, legislative, not moral, so that people begin to mistrust justice. How many of you mistrust justice at the moment? It's rotten. If we go on a screen, family. What does it say about families? It says we're going to break it up. We're going to break up families, because then the state can actually claim. What the state can claim is not the adults, it's the children. Now, if you think this is fiction, I can tell you if you read real Marxist Soviet warfare books, it reeks of this stuff. It's real. And I'm going to say to you, what you're starting to see is it being driven through our society. Now, the first part was demoralisation. I believe we are very close to the destabilisation, where they're trying to get in the violence on the streets. This is scary stuff, but I'm going to say towards the end that we can do things.